Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. My name is Crystal Foote. I'm the founder of Digital Culture Group. Thank you. The only Black and woman-owned ad tech company in the United States. Today, I am joined with two incredible, extraordinary men representing Atlanta as well as Liberia. We have Dr. Alvin Glay.
Hey guys, thank you for having me.
And we also have Jonathan Massaquoi.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right, let's jump in. Alvin, let's start with you. In your book, you describe life in a refugee camp and how that shaped your sense of identity and ambition. What part of that journey most tested your identity and leadership mindset?
Well, I mean, not too many people go through life being a refugee. You know, obviously there's a lot of war that's happening right now, so people can resonate with that. But for me, there are a couple of things. One is resilience. I think there is always a way to solving any problem. To solving any problems. And I take that in my work life to think about any business challenge that come about. There is always a solution. There is not, we can't do this, we can't do that.
Yeah, and not everyone, to your point earlier, has been through refugee camp, war. However, what's one word you would tell entrepreneurs, founders, heads of agencies and brands that are sitting here right now? What's one word?
No, I mean, I think the key is, you know, us as leaders, we're faced with challenges every day in our day-to-day life, right? So it's all about, whatever that challenge is, resilience is all about, you know, thinking about the possibility. The moment you say we can't do this, you've automatically defeated yourself. So it's thinking about, okay, that's a challenge, but there are other ways of getting to that destination, overcoming that. So it's having that mindset of thinking of, there's always a way, there's always a solution. Whether if it's new business is slow, clients are slow, revenues are slow, clients are taking their budget, you always have to think about there is a solution to solving that problem.
I love that. So mindset, that's the one word.
Mindset over matters.
That's right. Jonathan, how did your early experience relocating to the United States at a young age and NFL journey shape your mental resilience?
Well, coming here as a war-torn family, I don't know where to start, but I can tell you that coming here and being able to pursue my dream in this great country and becoming an NFL player speaks a lot about the resilience and that my family instilled in me, and also that I also went out there and showed the world. And so those two things really, they contrast. You know, you have to go through the battlefield in the NFL. You got to show up every day. And it's the same thing when you're coming over here from a country that's war-torn. You have to have a good mindset. You have to see things through. You have to know that hard days aren't going to be forever. So just like everything else, you have to have that mindset.
Agreed. One thing I love about NFL season is Hard Knocks, because it really humanizes the players, right? You get to see behind the scenes of what they're going through. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, if anybody out here happened to watch the Hard Knocks, I got drafted to the Atlanta Falcons, so I happened to be on there, and it was crazy. It was crazy. You know, it gives us a deep dive into the players' lives, what we have to go through, and it makes us more relatable. You know, people look at us as superheroes, as people who don't have feelings, and people who don't have our own insecurities. So Hard Knocks is a good show that shows that mental resiliency, and it shows that when players are pushed against the wall, their ability to bounce back from misfortune or change.
Agreed. It always makes me so emotional. I'm like, no, I wish he stayed on the team. Don't kick him off. All right, so Alvin, you didn't just survive war. You survived being overlooked. And now in an economy where brands throw billions just to steal a second of attention, you've built a life and a legacy that people can't unsee. So here's the real question. In a world addicted to noise, what can your story teach us about building brands and leaders that are unforgettable without ever performing?
I mean, when you think about it at the foundation, a lot of brands is trying to build loyalty. And in order to build loyalty, you have to build trust, love, and respect. Those are the three elements of marketing in general that drive loyalty. So from a brand standpoint, people want to feel seen, which means they want you to understand their struggle. That's why Nike does it so well. That's why after the pandemic, when there was a campaign, They Can't Stop Us, everybody loved it. So it's all about how can you incorporate some form of resonance in your marketing strategy that people feel seen, that they feel part of it.
Yeah, and also as consumers first, we also can identify those brands who are trying too hard,
Correct,
right?
correct.
We try to do the memes and keep up with that. It's like that's not cute. So I can definitely relate with that. Jonathan, you spoke about navigating a new country to standing center stage in the NFL. In today's attention economy, how did that journey shape what you believe deserves to be seen?
Well, today's economy is very tough. It's very challenging. It has its ups and downs as we're currently seeing what's happening with this current POTUS. When it comes to Africa and what I'm trying to do right now as I'm pivoting into my new lane of vocation, my business is called Tron Dynamics. And what we're doing is taking local innovation and connecting it with global opportunities. And so right now, when you look at the contrast between the United States and Africa, Africa is a gold mine. It's actually the best place to go invest right now. If you're a black entrepreneur and you're out here right now listening to it, if you want to scale your business and you want to take a 20-year plan into a 10-year plan, Africa is the place to start. If you didn't start today, you need to start tomorrow. So that's what's major for me right now. Tron Dynamics, like I said, we're looking to take local innovation and connect it with global opportunities, looking to scale people's business and help connect them with the right investors and put the right resources in front of them to actually thrive and get the results from their business.
I love that. Since you made that announcement, entrepreneurs in the crowd, definitely go to Jonathan right after so you can invest today and not tomorrow. We're gonna make this ASAP. So let's talk about transformation, not just of self, but of how pain can become purpose. Jonathan, you're now building businesses that invest in the diaspora. What drove that mission? Why are you doing what you're doing?
Well, the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because me being an immigrant coming to this great country, I know what it feels like to be overlooked. I know what it feels like to be doubted and to be questioned about your abilities. And so what I'm doing with Tron Dynamics is setting up a platform for people who are unseen, people who don't have the voice to speak up for themselves and create an optimizing environment for them to actually scale and succeed. So, like I said, me being an immigrant, me actually living the American dream, coming here as an immigrant, graduating in college, making my parents proud, getting drafted. Only 265 people get drafted. And so for me to be one of those candidates, it's not only an honor, but it's a testament to my parents and where I'm going and the driving force behind Tron Dynamics.
I love that. Congratulations on that. That deserves a clap, definitely. But it's interesting because although you were an immigrant to this country, you went through that. There are a lot of us from diverse backgrounds who go through that in our own country. And so we have that commonality, and I feel like a lot of purpose-driven companies are from those diverse groups who've gone through those kind of situations. All right, Alvin, if resilience were a brand strategy, what would your tagline be for it?
Oh my goodness. So my entire life is all about resilience. It's overcoming odds, whether if it's being a refugee, losing two of my siblings, and my brother was murdered in 2021. My other brother died in 2022. But I am today sitting in Cannes talking to you guys. So for me, the tagline would be, there's beauty on the other side of pain. And I live by that every day.
Most definitely. All right, so question for both. What's the superpower that made you unforgettable, not because you shouted, but because you survived?
Superpower. I think for me, it's my mindset. When I say there is nothing I can't overcome, I mean there is absolutely nothing. And I wish we all have the ability to believe in ourselves like that, because the mind is such a powerful thing. Because when you feel like you're invincible, you truly are invincible. So that's my superpower.
I agree with that. A lot of metaphysics talks about mindset when you manifest. It's mindset and emotions. And if your mindset is not right, you cannot achieve greatness in your life. So I completely agree with that. Jonathan, what about yours? What's your superpower?
My superpower is looking in the mirror and seeing exactly the person that I know I am. And I think that if everybody began to do that same thing and looked in the mirror and gave themselves a smile and told themselves that you rock, I believe everybody would be a little bit more ahead than behind. So that's my superpower, being able to just tell myself I am who I am, and this is what it is.
Is there a mantra you say in the mirror when you wake up? Can you share that with us?
Hoorah!
All right, so if the audience remembers one message from you all, just one, what would it be?
I mean, I think we talked about it, throughout this conversation. Mindset over matters. I mean, it's as simple as that. Mindset over matters. When you can tell yourself in the darkest time that you got this, it's such a powerful thing.
Jonathan?
For me, I'm gonna keep it very simple. Never give up. Discipline. Never give up. Momentum respects discipline. Keep up the good job and keep working hard.
I love that. Now, do we have any Nigerians in the crowd? Any Nigerians? All right, I hear some in the back. All right.
Put up your hand proud now. Don't be ashamed now.
I have a very serious question before we end. Who has the best jollof rice?
It's not even a question.
Do not even start
Who
getting
has the
your
best
voice.
jollof rice?
Don't start getting your voice loud in the
or
back now.
Nigerians? Who has the
Don't
best?
be proud now. Liberia, get in the front right there.
It is not even
My
a
cousin
question.
told me to ask that question. All right, so you are very lucky. It's not too crowded today, which is perfect because we're giving away one Beyonce ticket, VIP, in a suite. And everyone's like, wait, I didn't know that. Yes, you showed up just in time to receive that. If you ask a question, Ksenia's going to walk around and give you a raffle ticket. Fill that out with your name and your email. We'll put it in the raffle box, and we'll have the drawing right now. So, any questions in the crowd? Beyonce? And also, you have to pay for your way there in your hotel, but you have a free ticket. Okay.
VIP tickets.
Yeah, yes, VIP.
Yeah, it is a VIP ticket, and
We
it's
have one
actually
question.
on Saturday.
Yes.
So right now, as you know, my brother in Burkina Faso is doing some great things. Ibrahim, he's vocalizing the strength of Africa and us Africans. And so my starting point would be in my home country, Liberia, where I'm originally from, and then I would migrate over to Ghana, which is over in the west. Ghana right now is probably one of the most popular cities right now in West Africa, being that it has a tremendous amount of history that is scarred and is building from, and the U.S. is doing a lot of dealings right there. So it would be between Ghana and Liberia as my launch pad as I begin this project. But like I said, the global connections is all across the West, every country. So once you sign up with Tron and you sit down with us, we'll be able to give you access to those channels to help scale your business based off some of your needs and wants.
I would add to that, there are other countries like Sierra Leone, the Ivory Coast, Mali, Burkina Faso. I mean, those are all areas that are ripe for investments.
Awesome. Any other questions to be entered into the raffle? Justin?
Well, so his question is, are there differences in like Chinese investment or American investment in Africa? So from what I've seen, Americans are way behind in investing in Africa. It's all the Chinese they're investing. So, I mean, that's really the difference from my purview is that Americans are way behind and there's opportunity to, tap into the continent.
So that was a really great question. I'd like to tag off of Alvin's answer. So when it comes to American investments, America has been down in Africa for so long, over 100 years. And so when you look at American investors, it's almost like they've assimilated themselves in the environment, but they've also raised the country's economic value, right? Places like Ghana, for example, we were just there in January. The dollar was, I think it was 15 CDs to 1 American US dollar. Now it's dramatically gone down to about 12 CDs to 1 US dollar. So when you look at Chinese investors coming from Asia, fundamentally, they're looking to scale foundationally the country, right? Where you see China coming in is scaling and building foundationally. Where you see the US come in, they're looking more of that good old boy mindset of, I'm not really looking for thinkers, I'm looking for workers. And the Chinese is really coming in and looking to work with the countries. They actually called everybody there recently within the last 2 months and promised them, I think it was a whopping $8 billion back in revenue over a grace period of 25, 50 years or something like that. So there's tons of investors and tons of investments going on right now across Africa. And that's why right now is the time to jump in and put your hat in the ring.
Any other questions? Yes?
Yeah, thanks for coming. What's your worst 12-hour day and how'd you get through?
My worst 12-hour day is the day that I doubted myself. Because I went to sleep that night with that thought. And I woke up with that thought. And how did I get over it? I looked in the mirror and I told myself, not today, buddy. Not today. You're better than that. You've come too far for yourself to defeat yourself. And once I told myself that, every cell in my body, and I looked myself in the mirror, I snapped right out of it. It worked for me, and hopefully I can pass that on to you. Yeah, right on.
All right. Well, please get a copy of Liberian Boy, Triumph Over War Shadow. You can get this on Amazon. And how can people reach out to you all?
So LinkedIn, Dr. Alvin Glay, Instagram, Dr. Alvin Glay, everywhere you can think of, dralvinglay.com. You can find me there.
dralvinglay.com. Thank you, Jonathan.
You can find me on Instagram. I am Massaquoi. You can find me on trondynamic.com. You can find me on Facebook, or you could just stay after and just talk to me like a normal human being. I'll exchange my number and my email as well. So we're both here in this beautiful country. So let's have some fun. Let's conversate.
Thank you. And you can find me, Crystal Foote, on LinkedIn. For those who answered the question or asked the questions, please meet us in the corner for the raffle. Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate it.